Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all at our second 30 by 30 for the fall. We're so pleased to have TBHF legend Lucy Billingsley with us today. She's the co-founder of Billingsley Companies, which focuses mostly on commercial real estate development in the DFW area. Lucy has been very engaged with the Hall of Fame. For those who have not heard her speak, she's a wonderful speaker, and I'm really looking forward to today's event. There's a few new faces on this call, so how these calls go, I start, or the moderator starts today, it's me, by asking Lucy a few questions, and then we open it up to the audience to ask questions. If you have a question today, please chat Stephanie Tillison. You don't need to chat your question, just tell her you have a question, and you will be called on by me to ask it live. The only other request I have is that everyone keep their video on if you're in a place or an environment that's conducive for that. It just makes these events a little more personal in this very virtual age we live in. So, Lucy, thank you for being here. And I wanted to start off with some of sort of the pre-work we did before this call and some of the wisdom that you shared with me. One of your big pieces of advice and these 30 by 30s, we really try to focus on sort of the personality of our business leaders, is leading a balanced life. That's very important. And I'm just curious how you've achieved that balance. What do you do in addition to running your company that keeps you balanced?
Well, first off, it's a treat to be here. Pleasure to get to visit with everyone. No one ever calls me up for advice, so this is sort of a shocking one-off experience. And feel free to exit early when you haven't learned anything. I think balance is a funny thing. People always talk about how special and meaningful it is, and we've all got to have work-life balance and all of that. I think it's hugely overrated. I think if you want to have excellence, it's very hard to have balance. And I value excellence over balance. I don't know that I achieve excellence, but in my attempts and my desires. So I think the only way I get close to balance is in my habits. I happen to be someone who's physically active. I need to exercise every day. And so I have some habits that will form up a life that gives me that. But when I was y'all's age and going to work and raising kids and trying to engage in the community in whatever ways, I didn't think about friends. That just had to go on pause for 20 years. Maybe not that dramatic, but the point is, I'd go for excellence over balance.
Okay, I want to circle back to your mention of habits. What one habit, if you had to choose one, what do you think is the most important one in terms of your success? Maybe a professional habit.
Well, the one habit that when you bring up habits, the best habit I've had that I haven't been doing for the past few years, so it's the biggest miss in my life, is meditation. I think that's hugely important for clarity. Clarity and focus. And so in my life, habit-wise, I did, like I said, I have to exercise every morning, and I work, and I love working. So I prioritize, and all my kids are grown and all that stuff. But I knew when I had kids, whenever they're gone, that's what I'd be doing. So I prioritize that, and making sure that I'm getting things done and being pragmatic and accomplished. And maybe that's the answer to your question. I don't know.
No, that's a good answer. How structured are you with your time? Like, do you arrive at work at the same time every day, or are you flexible?
I'm fairly structured, and I fill much of my time with meetings. So I have to fight to have the time at my desk to focus and really deliver. I feel like every week I need to have at least one or two big projects that must move forward, so I don't get caught in the minutia of all the obligations that come with these other activities. I mean, we're in development, we're in operations, we're in financing. I can lose focus. I have to-do list, which I've always called avoid trivia, because I think that's a significant thing to do, is avoid trivia and go for the big things. And it's about 4 pages long, so it's filled with trivia. So
How often do you
watch my
revise it?
actions.
Do you look at that list every night or every morning, or?
No, it's probably serendipity, and then it's probably once a week, really
Yeah.
diving in there, and so I use it to track all these projects as well as to say, what am I supposed to be getting done?
How many employees does Billingsley Companies have right now? Like,
We're around 250, 270, something like that.
what's the biggest lesson you've learned about managing people, about people?
Oh, that's easy. People don't want to be managed. No, I don't want to be managed. Nobody wants to be managed. So you don't. What you do is you respect people. You have high expectations set for them, and you have common goals together. I want to be working with people that I really want to be working with. So yeah, I'm mid-year reviews, end of the year reviews. Shoot me, I hate those things because I don't want to be reviewing you. I want to be sharing. If I've made an observation, share it, but I want to learn where you want to be going, and am I giving you a good enough platform for you to get there? How do I get obstacles out of your way? That's the
Yeah.
conversation I want to be having. So I'm not a
But
good manager.
do you do the reviews even though you hate them though?
A few. I
Yeah.
mean, some people, worked with a long time. I just said, look, if I'm pissed, you know it. We don't need to go there. Anyway,
That's so true.
we know it, and I'm not, but it's that easy and good a relationship. And then I also think a lot of people don't change. So I think it's very hard. I don't do a good job of inspiring people to make changes.
Huh. Okay. One thing you reference in your advice quotes is curiosity, and it's interesting because I feel like curiosity is the most common thread among all of our Hall of Fame members.
Mm,
They're all insatiably curious
mm,
people. So what are you most
mm.
curious about these days? Outside of work, like what really grabs your attention?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's several areas. I've had the fortune of a fascinating weekend that was going deep into um, uh, politics and the American condition and geopolitical issues. That's overwhelmingly fascinating. I have stayed interested for many years on what is this human experience. So I've read a lot about the brain and um, who are we? How do we function? I've recently gotten into reading some fascinating books on um, animals. There's just so much data out there today, and so I just want to keep learning.
Speaking of the politics you mentioned, I want to ask you about that. And I'm just kidding, and we're not going to
Hmm.
talk politics.
Oh
But I
no,
know
I'm happy to.
you've gotten some pretty impressive awards for your engagement
Mm,
politically.
mm.
Um, is it the Mallon Award? That's the World Affairs? Is that
Oh
yeah. Well,
no, thank you.
so I'm just that's civic engagement in general, global engagement, maybe specifically for this question. Like, how has that helped you in your business? I mean, other than the obvious establishing relationships and business relationships, like how has that made your business better being politically engaged?
I don't know that it's had any impact on my business.
Okay.
And the international nonprofit work I've done doesn't translate into a business transaction. But what it does translate into is knowing great leaders from diverse areas that are coming to a cause with a whole background of insight and knowledge. So I am overwhelmingly inspired by these people I've been able to meet at those tables. And you come to the table for the nonprofit issue at hand, but you're enriched by the people who are sitting next to you.
And all those activities and all the world leaders you've met in recent years, which one do you admire most? Is there a standout?
Well, just since we're as of late, I've had the pleasure a few times now jumping into politics to get to meet Nikki Haley.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I saw her as a figure, in the news, I ignored her. In UN, I ignored her. Governor, I ignored her. And being in these conversations, I am struck by her in many ways. So I don't know that her candidacy will get someplace, but I happen to actually hope it will, because I haven't been around a political leader that I think has got that clarity of purpose and insight that she does.
I'm a big fan. I wish she had gotten more opportunity to talk at the last debate. Hopefully
Yeah,
the next one.
yeah.
Um, let's see. You talk about ignoring industry norms
Mm.
and setting your own. What industry norm have you ignored? What's a big one that's made a difference for you?
All the time. I mean, right now we're in the multifamily business. We've got all of our measurements, right? Success in leasing and how do your people manage phone calls? How do they manage communications? How do we respond? How do we service? Um, it's an industry that has super high turnover. And some of the positions we have super high turnover. I I think that the fact that the industry has it is an irrelevant consideration. We shouldn't. And so how do we go about solving that? How do we change the way we do things to be better? How do we set a different standard for ourselves? Um, and it's not easy. I haven't figured it out, but certainly it's the way we should be looking at. And I mean, all the people on this phone call, all of you all have ignored industry norms. That's why you're here, because you've tried to go see it your own way. So I'm just need to follow in your footsteps and figure it out.
Well, before we already have some people lined up to ask some questions. So I'll ask um, one final one related to a quote you said was one of your favorites, which is from Bill Gates. Your most unhappy customers are your greatest source
Oh,
of learning. Okay, I want to, if you're comfortable sharing, what's an unhappy
yeah.
customer you've learned from?
I don't know that I'm going to get a particular example. And well, I I can turn this story into the answer to that question. One of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life was, thank God, years ago. And I was at the Dallas Market Center, at the World Trade Center, and that's where the wholesale and retail come together. And we were bringing the wholesalers, furniture wholesalers, to the market all the time, and their retailers, their customer told us that they wanted us to bring uh, Asian product into America for them to see at a temporary show. Well, my tenants were the furniture companies from South Carolina, the Southeast, and my tenants absolutely said no, don't do it. And I thought, no, 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 they're the customer, they're right. And this is obviously what they want. So I did it. I brought a temporary show in, and I alienated my customers in a deep and uh, significant way. And that's just a perfect example. I didn't listen to my customer.
And how did you repair that?
Um, Part of it was just damage that was done. Some of them focused their expansions in other areas rather than here at the Dallas Mart. And as time has gone by, I happen to have been proven right, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
because, the Asian, have a much bigger part of the furniture industry than they used to, but that's irrelevant. So it hurt our market.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well,
On that happy
I would
note,
love to ask you a lot more questions, but I have to open it up to everyone else now. And I'm so thrilled to see we have quite a few. So I'm going to start with Anna Alvarez. And when you ask a question, please say where you live, where you got your award, and your company or where you are professionally right now, briefly. Thank you. Anna, go ahead.
Hi, Lucy. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. I know we all appreciate it. So my name's Anna Alvarez. I'm an MBA student at UTA, and this year I won the Texas Future Texas Award. And I own my company, Social Sophie Marketing LLC. I opened it when I was 15 years old, so 7 years ago. And then at a innovation center, I'm also managing entrepreneurship and innovation efforts as well. So I wanted to ask you, was there a specific moment or maybe a decision that you had in your career that had a profound impact maybe on your leadership style or the approach to how you led people within your team?
My leadership style, I'm not too sure how to answer the question. As you're speaking, a quote that my dad gave to me came into mind. It said, he always would tell us, it's all up to you, no matter what comes in your life, right? It's all up to you. And your reaction. And so my leadership style is really to own it. And I referred to it a little bit earlier, but I consider everyone pretty significant, no matter their job. And I really do want to bring the respect to them. Now, I don't interact with all of these people, at least most of the time. I've got a group that I'm more interacting with, but for everyone, my respect is really keen. And it's like anything else. With respect comes expectations. With responsibility comes opportunity. So I think that's it. I'm pretty out there. I am sort of Southern, so I expect you to read between the lines a little bit. I don't come out totally with the torpedo. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No,
I hope it did.
that was great. You.
Thanks,
Thank
Anna.
you.
Okay, Mitch, you're up next.
Hi, Lucy. My name is Mitch Cantwell, and I work at Holt Lunsford Commercial. I won my award back in 2020 from Dallas Baptist University. And I would love to hear what you guys are doing at Billingsley. Kind of twofold question. One, how you're positioning your company to be prepared for the turbulent times that we're about to face. And then how you as a leader are planning on taking care of your people and thinking through the leadership aspect heading into the times we're about to face.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and Holt's a great pal, so you're at a great place. Our business is a family business, so we don't have outside partners breathing down our necks. So that's the first way you protect yourself. We get to make the judgments and when to spend money, when to expose ourselves, when to take risks at our own pace. And I'm the wildest member of this group. Everybody else is much more conservative than me. So we're in good stead. And we fortunately have been able to build up a business with caution. So, we're not overexposed when we've got enough liquidity. So we see this time as a time of real opportunity. And what might we be able to accomplish, when if the markets get soft, when the markets get soft, that's a buying time, and instead of a selling time. So how do we move into that? For everybody who's not in real estate, real estate's a business that's driven through job growth and this economic growth. And we've had a 12-year ride that has been the best of my lifetime. It's been stunning. And that's coming to a screeching halt with the change in interest rates. So, you know, if we're starting projects now, and we are starting a couple of multifamily, they don't pencil. You look at this and say, no, wait. But we happen to think in the rear view mirror, they will pencil just fine. But we're not, you know, starting tons of stuff. And how do we lead people in the company? We're not overstaffed. We can protect everybody, and yeah, intend to do so. Family business again. We care a lot about people. Hope that helped.
It did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amenape, you're up next. Wait, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hi, Lucy. My name is Amenape McKinney. I work at Big Sky Funds for Jason Signal, who's a board member for Texas Business Hall of Fame. I got my award in 2017, I believe, from Texas Christian University. So you answered probably a lot of my question in the last one, but just kind of wanted to hear your outlook on the real estate market over the next 3 years.
Well, we're excited about it. We're excited about the multifamily business because the number of people who are developing new products is shrinking a lot. And so what we bring onto the market at that time will have really strong market position. We're excited about retail because the retail industry's changed so much that it's hugely occupied. So the occupancy is strong, and we're not great big in that business, but what we will build will be filled just because the demand is there. We're excited about the industrial market, same reason. It's just, you know, hell bent for leather. So the only area that you'd question, of course, is office. Office market's very important to us. And most of our office buildings are in great shape because they're in wonderful places that are rich with amenities and succeed because of that. We have 2 office buildings that are not in that kind of environment, and we are going to watch them very, very closely. And you know, anyway, see how those end up performing. And one of them we were able to a few months ago renew the loan. Just the loan was coming up at that time, so we're safe on those financially. But you have to worry about the product. Will office buildings in the future require great amenity base to be successful? And I think that's probably the case. I think these freestanding office buildings on freeways are yesterday's news.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see who's up next. Joseph, take it away.
Hey, Lucy, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Sure can. Well, thanks so much. This was absolutely great and profound, just kind of hearing your insights there. The question I have is more about your family last name. Like, I'm always curious. I love family-run businesses, and maybe it's considered old school to kind of think about, growing a business still under the umbrella of the family, not taking outside investors and other types of things that would require equity being given away. How do you make your teammates and your employees who don't possess your last name still feel very included in this endeavor, especially as you go decades and decades?
You know, the leadership team we have has been with us a long time. So we started out all together and young. And so we've grown up together. And in the beginning, it was just, my husband, myself, and our key associates. And, they all knew that when we're in real estate, what we would do every time we'd start something new, we'd put it in the kid's name. And this is the best piece of advice I'm giving to anybody on this call today. Put what you start in your kids' names. You never have the problem of getting it to them. And they end up with a foundation for the future And that's 3 of our kids are in the business because where are they going to get a better platform? And it was already theirs. And so as the kids then grew up, I'd keep the conversation very alive. Here they come. And in the beginning, they're young and they're starting in the business and they get their own stripes. They are high quality people, strong integrity, pragmatic, solid, with very different personalities and natures and risk taking. So as business people, they're different, but their moral core is respected. So, everybody sort of saw it coming, and now they're in their 30s, late 30s, early 40s. Well, all of a sudden, they're in big leadership positions here, and they've earned their way there. So it's been really a wonderful ride. Now, you can ask the next piece of the question: how do you hire new people coming in? What is their avenue? And we have chosen to do this in a way that is not sharing equity. So we're paying. It's exciting opportunity, no travel, great salary, great incentive plans, and we give you a whole lot of latitude to go be who you can be. So that's sort of the offering we have to be in the business, and we're all in it together.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to go work for Lucy.
That's right.
No. Okay. Let's see. We have time for a couple more questions. Lauren Cornell.
Hello, my name is Lauren Cornell. I received my Future Texas Business Legend Award in 2018, and I'm based in San Antonio, Texas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Novothelium. We're a women's health company looking to provide nipple grafts for women after breast cancer. So my question to you is, have you ever had a side hustle? And if so, what was it?
I have always been very focused on doing this real estate stuff. My dad was in the business, so I grew up in this, this is business. And the only time I've stepped out of real estate was when I was running a family business called the Dallas Market Center and started a travel company there. And then when I left the market center, I kept the travel company and said, okay, I'm going to try to go do something on my own. It's not related to the family. Can I succeed? When you get to start with your dad being successful, you're just given so much and you don't know who you are. And so then I worked on this travel company for a dozen years, and then while I was doing that, got back into real estate development, got finally into mainstream real estate development with my husband. But in the travel agency, I got to find out a tremendous amount about myself and what could I do, and what, so that was a great learning experience. The only other things I've done tangentially was then, as we referred to earlier, jump into some international philanthropic organizations, and I got very active in some of those. And anyway, you get to learn a whole lot about yourself. I'm not a really great nonprofit activist. I believe in nonprofit. I just don't want to go do it. But I got to learn a ton, not only about the great people in the room, but about myself. That's as close to a side hustle as I get.
You
Thank
talked
you.
about in your pre-interview notes about the importance of liking yourself and being confident. Was that stepping out on your own and away from your family? Was that your kind of key confidence building moment in your life?
My parents gave me confidence. They believed in me, and so they enabled me to believe in myself. But still, you're insecure in different things, right? And in business, that was the moment that I was able to really say, I can do this. And I was motivated by fear until I was about 40. And fear is just such a great motivator. Can I do it? Can I do it? I'm desperate to do it. I want to do it. And then finally I thought, I think I can do this. Then what the hell is going to motivate me? I was really stumped. And finally, then you have to say, I'm motivated by purpose. And a rich life and engagement, and I want the ride. Live life large. But anyway, giving up fear as my motivator was losing a crutch.
Yeah, no, I know all about that fear motivator. Do you have time for 2 more questions? It's 11:30. I know we were supposed
No,
to.
I'm fine.
Okay. So Nayab, I know you have a question. Garrett, did you still have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Ms. Billingsley. Good to see you. I came to your office last year, or last summer, actually. I think it was like almost today, just last year.
Funny.
Some of the things greatly appreciative of that you gave me are some of these mentor
Right.
files. But it's great to see you again. Hopefully Shadow, your dog, is doing well in the office as well.
Yeah. Shadow's over here. Bacon's down here.
Terrific. Well, just one of the coolest things that I noticed in her office was she has a map of all of her developments, so she can actually see what's going on and where they're at in kind of relation to the Dallas marketplace. So for those who are online, I think that's a really cool and insightful idea to do. But really what I wanted to ask you is, since I last saw you, one of the things that I've run into maybe more often than I'd like is trusting in the people that you hire and bring on. And I know you don't really give a lot of equity away to your business partners, but obviously I'm in the medical office building. I know a few others are on this call as well. And if you ever want to do medical office, definitely hit me up. But how do you put trust in the people you hire to do the job and to know, it's going to get done effectively and efficiently, without obviously kind of taking advantage of the situation?
Well, I start out with trust and expectations. Now, then, does it happen? And, of course, we've got every example of, people who my expectations were way beyond reality, and people who just rise right to the occasion. I don't know how to know that in advance. And so I think you just have to be very clearly spoken about it and open. And I know it depends on what kind of trust you're talking about, but if it's just job performance, that's one thing.
Yes, ma'am. I guess it's just my questions in more relation to like architects. I know you obviously probably stick with 1 or 2 over time, but making sure that there's civil engineers, you're obviously your engineers and architects are not obviously misbilling you or doing things like that.
So on architects, we work with a big variety, and we are a very, very opinionated client. So we come in with much. We really tell them what we want them to do, and then we do monitor their billing. And certain groups never come back and hit you up for more. Other groups hit you up all the time, and then you finally get tired of working with them. So I think you'll change relationships with civil. You've got some civil engineers will take a lot of risk, and others will just read the rules so damn tightly that they make your life hard. And so I think we, try to learn again the nature of those people that we're dealing with, and then you just are monitoring bills over time. We've had mistakes via every different ones of these groups, right? So in structural, we finally have had some people that we just think are amazing, and we try to get there. We try to bring them into the job. So we do have preferences, and we do have 2 sites in Dallas that at some point we're going to need medical office on.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to it. No, thank you so much for your time. You're an incredible woman. So if you ever get a chance to see her around town in Dallas, she's awesome.
You're kind.
Okay. Last question. Naya, go for it.
Hi, Lucy. Thank you for staying back to answer our questions.
No,
I can't believe people aren't stalking you for advice. I'm in Houston. I won the award last year while I was doing my MBA at the University of Houston. I'm working on a platform for food sustainability. And now to my question, you mentioned family office a few times, and how do you resolve conflict within the stakeholders in the business? I would think it would be tougher to navigate a personal and professional conflict at the same time.
I make sure that for my kids, none of them have the right to make a decision that impacts the other one unless they're the clear majority. So we have them set up. Initially, we set up one is multifamily, one's office, one's industrial. And so they had nothing to do with each other, but their assets are intertwined. And so we have decided that anyone, first off, can build whatever they need to on their assets. So even though I might have been office, now if I have multifamily land, it's my land, I can do it. If we own something together, the majority partner runs the financial and sales decisions, and everybody else has to ride with it. We wanted not to have things intermingled, but when you're doing tax-free exchanges, things happen you don't want to in that way. And so we've had a little bit of that happen. And we're all lucky enough, and these are solid enough people. We don't need to be fighting over anything. So what people care about, I think, is that at this stage of the game, that they get to know what their assets are, and I'm still cleaning some of this up. They get to know what their assets are. They get to know that they're the one responsible for them, and that they are positioned in master plan communities where I own something next to you, and neither of us have built it yet, that we're going to have a game plan of how we can build together adjacent and complementary ways in a non-competitive way. So the management of these projects are centralized, office, multifamily, and industrial. So management never competes. And then I'm building my asset next to your asset. Cross fingers, hold our breath, see if it works. I was in a family business with a bunch of my brothers, and I got out of it because I didn't want to have any, I wanted to make my own mistakes. So I'm hoping to position these kids so they don't feel that, they don't think they're kids anymore, but that they don't feel that they're having a sibling make a judgment on their life and their opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. You all are the best. A treat to be with you. I'm, at this end of the game, people are nice enough to tell you you need to you get some award, and A, you don't deserve it, but two, it's sort of fun, and there's a cool group of people, so you're sort of joining a club that you'd like to hang out in. At y'all's part of the game, this is a platform for life, and you all are taking it and running with it, and I hold you in such admiration. So have a good ride.
Thank you, Lucy, for doing this today. It's my understanding you're an avid reader. Do you want to leave us with a book recommendation? I always like asking that.
How
when
funny.
I do.
I'm reading Billionaires Row on 57th Avenue Developers in New York right now. I recently finished a book called A Bird's Way by Jennifer Ackerman, which is just great on, who would have thought birds would be interesting, wild and unbelievable. And there's another real estate book in New Kings, New York, which is the big developers in New York over the past 10 years. All those are gossipy and fun and big business deals.
Well, thank you
Nothing
much.
serious.
Thank you so much for today. This was really interesting. And I hope to see everyone next week with Harvey Najim out of San Antonio, the founder of Serious Solutions. And thanks everyone for being here. And thank you so much, Lucy.
A pleasure.
Bye, y'all.